What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to show you how to remove the door panels on my 2020 Tundra Platinum. That way you can get at the door handle itself. I'll show you how to remove that from the rest of the piece to isolate that so you can paint it, vinyl wrap it, plasti dip it, whatever you want to do. And then I'm also going to show you how to remove and separate this silver trim piece that runs right along there. You can actually separate that from the rest of the door panel. So again, you can paint it or whatever you want to do with it. So I obviously chose to go black with mine. I had kind of a blacked out theme with my truck, so I'm going to show you how to remove the panel first, and then I'll show you how to isolate the door handle and this silver trim piece. All right, first thing we got to do is take off this little triangle panel here. Nothing holding it in place other than tabs, so just get your fingers behind it and just pop it right off like that. There's only 3 clips that are holding it in place. You can see this white clip stayed in the truck. This usually happens when you pop these off. What you want to do is get that white clip out of there and put it back on the tab from the trim piece. The reason I say that is if you try to put this trim piece back in with that white tab still in the truck, you're most likely going to push it straight through and you're going to lose it in the truck. So I'm just going to go ahead and remove that. A pair of needle nose pliers or hemostats, whatever you have. And that's what it looks like right there. So you just put that right back on the trim piece on the tab that it came off. Just clips right back on. Now, I have a speaker in mind with the JBL audio system. You may or may not have that. If you do, it's just 3 Phillips head screws, 1, 2, and 3. So I'm going to go ahead and remove them. You could also just remove the wiring harness from the back, but the one tab makes it kind of tough to get your fingers in there, so it's just as easy to go ahead and remove those 3 Phillips head screws. Once you have that removed, you're going to take, again, your needle nose pliers or whatever you have. There's a panel behind the door handle right here. Just pull your handle out, and you can grab it right down in here and just kind of pull, and it'll pop off just like that. Or you can use a pry tool, needle nose pliers, whatever you have, just to take that out of there. That's going to expose a Phillips head screw right there that we have to remove. Next thing is you're going to want to, there's a Phillips head screw right down in here in this panel here. I had a little aftermarket covering in there, and you can't miss it. It's right down in the corner right in here. Again, Phillips head, just go ahead and remove that. After you have them 2 screws removed, there's a little push pin right here. Take a very small, I'm using a very small flathead screwdriver, anything like that, and you want to push right in the center. There's a smaller circle in the center. You want to push that in until you're going to hear like a little pop or a little kind of clip noise. I'm not sure if it's going to show up on camera, but once you hear that pop, stop pushing, and then you'll be able to get the push pin out of there. So there it is right there. Again, I don't know if it came out on camera. So then just get up underneath it with whatever you have. Just be careful, you don't want to scratch your panel. And it'll remove. This is what it looks like right there. Now, once you have them removed, the next piece we want to take out is this panel right here that has the window switches on it. Nothing holding it in place other than tabs. So just start popping it up. The front corner is usually the hardest to pop out of there. It's held in with a decent sized clip. So there it goes, just like that. Now, you just have to remove the wiring harness. The wiring harness is obviously right here. Push in on that little clip there and pull out. If it doesn't come out easily, sometimes it'll be a little stubborn. There's a little window. Hopefully it shows up. I'll try to get my hand behind it so it shows. But there's a little tiny square window right there. If you can't get that wiring harness out of there, you'll see there's a little bit of a clip right there. Just take something, push that in, and then you should be able to release the harness. So just go ahead and set that aside. Now, once all that's done, we're ready to remove the panel itself. Again, it's just held in by push pins and clips. So you're just gonna, I like to start over here on the inside. Now, once we take the panel off, there's gonna be wiring harnesses. For me, with the Platinum, I have the seat memory buttons right here. There's gonna be a wiring harness behind there we have to disconnect. And then I'll show you, I'm gonna grab my wife and have her video me from the other side so I can show you guys what you have to do to release the locking mechanism and the handle itself. There's two small, really thin wire kind of things that you have to disconnect from the back of these, and I'll get my wife so she can record and we can get a good view on what you have to do on that side there. Okay, so once you have the panel loose, here's what you need to do. Again, it's just held on over a lip right there on top. So just go ahead and get it freed up off of that lip like that, and then just make sure that speaker's out of the way. Okay, and then down here, this is the wiring harness right there for the seat memory buttons that I showed you. So just go ahead and deconnect, or I'm sorry, declip that. And then right here, these are the two wires that I was telling you about. So the white one is for the door lock itself. The green one is for the door handle. So what you need to do, hopefully my hat's not in the way, you need to pop, they're held in place of course so they don't pull on anything. So just go ahead and pop, there we go, pop it out like that. And then try not to bend it because again, it's very thin metal. So you want to bring it over and you'll see there's a little bit of a groove where you can then pop it out like that. All right, so we're gonna do the same thing for the green one. Again, it's held in place, so I'm just gonna pop it out of there, and then that's what they look like. And you'll see the grooves where they're held in place where you have to kind of like slide them over and then pop them up. All right, so once you have these two pieces removed, the entire panel is now free from the truck. So let's go ahead and take it inside and I'll show you how to remove the door handle and that other silver piece to do whatever you want with it. All right guys, as you can see, we have the panel inside the garage. To remove the entire assembly of the locking mechanism and the door handle, this is the back of it right here. There's only two Phillips head screws, one here, one here. So I'm gonna go ahead and remove those. Once they're removed, it's only held in by a couple of little clips. So you can just kind of work it free. Just kind of wiggle it back and forth and it'll eventually pop out of there for you. Just like that. So then you have this piece right here. Now I'll show you what you can do to separate the handle from the rest of the piece so you don't have to worry about, you know, getting any paint or anything on. Whatever you're going to decide to do, you can isolate the handle itself from the rest of this piece here. Okay guys, this is one step that we have to be very careful with. So this is the piece we just removed, obviously. Flip it around and you're going to want to remove the lock button first. To do that, it's only held in by two spots where it's a little bit of a tab. Right here and then one down in here. So to remove it, you're just going to kind of pry it down and pull it out at the same time. And again, this is a little bit tricky, so I might actually have to do this. I might have to move to the side of the camera here. So you're just prying this tab down and pushing out. And it'll remove just like that. Now, you can see right there and there, I'm sorry, right here, and then in here is, let me get it in frame. Right here and right in here is where the tabs are. So once that pops out, just set it aside. Now the handle, as you can see, there's a decent sized spring right there. So once you have that lock button removed, turn it back around to the front, and what you can do is you're going to lift up like that, and then you can kind of just start prying that out as well. It's held in by a clamp down here, or a clip I mean. And again, this is a little bit tricky, so just be patient and work around with it. And there you can see the handle will come out, and then the spring is going to fall out as well. I will show you how to get that spring back in. The very first time I did this, it was a little tricky, I'm not going to lie to you, but once I show you how to do it, it's honestly not that bad. So now you have this piece free, and you can, there's another tab down here. You could pop that tab out and pry it around back in here, and you should be able to get this chrome piece off the rest of the handle. For some reason, mine on my 2020 Platinum, I don't know if they glued it underneath there or what, but I cannot get this chrome piece off of the backing here, the black backing. So I don't know why. Like I said, I don't know if they glued it or something. I really don't know. There's another tab back in here, but I cannot get this chrome piece off. If you want to give it a shot on your truck, feel free. Mine will not budge. So now I have that free, and I can go ahead and paint it, not have to worry about getting anything else on it. I'm actually going to use plasti dip on mine just to make sure I like it first. If I do like it, then I may go with permanent paint. So that's how you get this piece out of the truck. So let's go ahead and move over to the silver trim piece that's underneath. Okay, once you have the handle isolated and removed, you can come back over to the silver trim piece that we're going to remove. In order to do that, it's only 4 T20 Torx screws. 1, 2, 3, and then 4 is up underneath this black piece here behind that black box there, which is actually the handle on the inside of the door. And then after you have those 4 T20s removed, it's only held in place by plastic welds. You're looking at my panel after I've already done this actually at this point. So everywhere you see these darker gray plastic welds, I'll show you what I used to recreate them. JB Weld World's Strongest Epoxy. It's right there. I picked it up at my local Walmart for $5. You can't beat it. Holding strength is 5,020 psi. Sets in 4 to 6 hours. I actually let mine set overnight, and you know, they're super strong now. But when you go to remove it, you're actually going to see black plastic welds in all of those spots where you see, you know, all of my darker gray plastic welds. They were black from Toyota. So I used a Dremel, not that hard. You just take the Dremel. It's a little time consuming, but it's really not that bad. So you just take your Dremel and you can either grind it down or shave them off. And once you remove those black plastic welds and those 4 T20 Torx screws, that entire trim piece will just pop out of there and remove from the rest of the panel. So you can go ahead and paint it, vinyl wrap it, whatever you want to do. And again, you don't have to worry about the rest of the panel itself. You'll have that piece, you know, isolated on its own. So let me show you how to get the door handle back in the locking mechanism back in their piece there, because that can be a little tricky as well. So I'm going to show you how to do that real quick, and then we're just going to start putting everything back together. Alright guys, I obviously have not painted the handle yet, but I just wanted to show you real quick how to put it back together. So when you're all done, you're going to take the frame piece here, take the door handle, and you're going to line, there's a fat tab right here and a skinnier tab right there. On the door handle, again, there's a fat hole and a smaller hole. So just line them up, and it's going to be sitting on there like so. All right, and then to get the spring back in, this is the tricky part. So flip it over, kind of hold the handle in place like this and flip it over, and then you have to take the spring, and before you take the spring out, make sure you pay attention to how it's in there. If you do, it'll help you get this in much easier, because you'll know exactly where it has to go. So when you're looking at the back, take the spring like this, hold it like that, and basically just push it down, kind of center it right here and push it down, and you'll hear both ends of it snap into place like that. All right, so that's all there is to it. Now, it can be a little bit tricky, you know, if it doesn't line up properly, and that's why I'm saying make sure you pay attention to how it's sitting in there before you actually remove it, because the spring, one end of it sits up in this groove here, the other end of it sits down in a groove down there. If you pay attention to those grooves, you'll know how to put it back in when it comes time. If not, you'll be messing with this thing for, you know, forever trying to get that spring back in there properly. So, and even when you do it like I just showed you, sometimes, you know, it'll slide on you and it might not go back in just as easily as it just did for me. But again, I've done this a few times. So that's all there is to getting that spring back in there. To get the button, or I'm sorry, the lock button back in, again, it's literally just sliding it back in over, there's a tab, this is the top part, and then on the bottom, this hole that's right here in the middle, not this one out here, this one right here. You're just going to line those up, and again, just kind of work it in until it's sitting where it needs to sit, and just pop those tabs back into place like so. All right, so all in all, not too bad. Again, just the biggest key is just pay attention to how they're sitting in there before you remove them, especially that spring. The spring is the trickiest part if you're not sure how it goes back in. So, all right, hopefully that helps you guys out. I'm going to go ahead and put everything back together. Again, I'm not going to waste too much time on the video showing you. Just reverse your steps. It's really honestly not that hard. So just reverse your steps, get it all put back together once you have it painted and plasti dipped or vinyl wrapped or whatever you're doing, and I will show you guys the finished product here in a second. There she is, put back in the door panel. You can see the trim piece is black, door handle's black. To get them reinstalled, just go ahead and reverse your steps. The 2 Phillips head screws in the back of the door handle, and then of course the plastic welds, which I showed you on that silver trim piece. So let me get this put back in the truck. I will give you a quick look at the back door panels. It's just slight differences, no big deal. I'm not going to go through the entire process, of course, but I'll just show you real quick what you have to do to get the back doors off. Very similar process, just a couple minor things that I just wanted to point out. Okay, on the back doors here, the only minor differences are the panel that you do have to remove is right here before you go messing with the door panel itself. No hardware, just some of those clips. So just get your nails underneath there, your fingers, or a pry tool, pop that off. Then you'll have access to the door. Pretty much same procedure. The pop rivet that you have to remove is back here instead of the front, like on the front doors. Other than that, it's pretty much the same procedure for all 4 doors. You're gonna take those 2 wire pieces off the back of the locking mechanism and the door handle, so just be careful when you're removing the panel itself. This piece here, all 4 doors, same thing. Just pop it up. There's no hardware holding it in place, just some of those clips. And then again, you just slide the door panel off itself, just held in by clips. So not that bad. Make sure your windows are down, of course, especially if they're tinted, which mine are, so you don't scratch or tint or anything. It just makes it easier to get the panels in and out. So that's all there is to it, guys. So let me give you a better look at the finished product here in the truck, and we'll wrap up the video. Okay, we're back in the truck. Everything's installed and buttoned up. As you can see, black trim pieces, black door handles. All 4 doors are completed. I'm loving the look of it. Just complements the blacked out theme, gets rid of that bright chrome and bright silver. So there you have it, guys. As always, I appreciate each and every one of you. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for more installs and product reviews on the Tundra and the Nitro. So thanks again. Hope you found it helpful. And any questions, comments, concerns, leave them below. We'll get them addressed. Have a great day, guys.